All right, second batch of cell parts for us here today. Last time we left off with the mitochondria, everyone's favorite biology meme that's going around out there. Anyway, mitochondria, they're in cells. There's some kidney bean shaped mitochondria parts there too. Let's knock out a bunch of other cell parts here today, starting with the ribosomes. Ribosomes are these little tiny kind of free floating structures. They're not membrane bound. They actually float around your cells in a couple different pieces and then come together when it's time to be the protein factory of the cell there. All right. So ribosomes take DNA, which is our genetic code for life, and then convert that DNA into chains of protein, which we'll be getting into much deeper when we get to the DNA unit. But here's a look at some. I always say them kind of as like an assembly line. They take instructions, they follow those instructions, and they're building a strand of protein in the process. If you take a look at the cell here, these little kind of free floating dots, those are just free ribosomes. And then you can see there's a bunch that are clustered onto these hallway tunnel looking things. And those hallway tunnel looking things would be the endoplasmic reticulum for our next cell part there. All right, endoplasmic reticulum. You'll almost always see it referred to as the rough ER, the smooth ER. That's fine. With endoplasmic reticulum, its job is going to be to prepare proteins, and they're going to be transporting them inside of the cell. Okay, so they're not doing extracellular transport. It is moving things around within its own cell body there. Kind of a little bit of the roadway of the cell, if you want to think of it in that regard. I have a cart over there to symbolize that, hey, it's for short-term transport that's going to be used to help, put things on top of as you're going there. Smooth ER is a little different, and it's actually one that we won't cover on the test. But smooth ER is going to play a role in regulating calcium levels. That's important when we are talking about muscle contractions in anatomy. Calcium plays a big role in regulating contractions of your muscles there. So for us, just focus on the rough ER and its purpose. When you're looking at identifying that rough ER, so here it is, those little hallway passages that you can be found throughout the cell. Notice how a lot of them are kind of hovering pretty close to the nucleus there. If we need to transport things outside of the cell, right? If we need to send something into that extracellular space, we call on the Golgi apparatus. You might also see it referred to as the Golgi bodies. All right, Golgi apparatus is the more accepted term currently. And so they're going to transport products outside of the cell. So like digestive cells, they're going to be making, stomach acid and enzymes and those kind of things. And then they're going to be sending those out of the cell into the extracellular fluid, much like a delivery truck is going to be taking whatever it is outside of the building onto a new area, new property, so to speak. Golgi apparatus, here they are, those kind of these green things. I always kind of think they look like a bunch of bananas. All right, maybe it's kind of a stretch, but it's going through these variety of cisternae or whatever you want to call them, and it's going to create this vesicle, that is going to, you can see it is releasing whatever is just made by the Golgi apparatus outside of the cell there. So Golgi apparatus. There. Next cell part are going to be vacuoles. Vacuoles are used for storage, enzymes, waste, and water. If you are a plant, you have a huge central vacuole that stores water for you. Humans, our vacuoles we don't store that much water, but it's kind of the storage unit of the cell. No picture there for vacuoles. I don't think anything's in there. Like I said, they're small. They're maybe only certain cells have them. I said huge when it comes to plants, but for animals, not as big of a deal. Next up, oops, sorry, I'm going a little fast. The lysosome. All right, lysosomes, I always think of Lysol, like the what you use to clean. Lysosomes clean out the cell. All right, they're the garbage man of the cell. They're going to be digesting old molecules. Sorry, they're digesting molecules, old organelles, foreign substances, and be kind of just breaking stuff down and recycling it for your cell. It's a nice look from the trash compactor in Star Wars. Lysosomes are these circular, free-floating bodies. They're just floating around the cell as they go there. Next up, we have cilia and flagella. Whoops, just going too fast today. These are external structures on cells, and they are kind of, like I said, they're covering the outside. So these are the hair-like structures on the membranes of cells. Cilia, like on the lower left, is when there are many hairs. Okay, that's a paramecium. It's a little single-celled organism that you'd see swimming around in pond water. So cilia has many hairs, where flagella has a singular structure. Within the human body, we see both of these. Cilia, your respiratory tract is lined with cells that are ciliated because they move that mucus out of your lungs, etc. And flagella, the only cell with a flagella would be the sperm cell has a flagella on it. All right. Next cell part is one that we're going to be talking about more when we get to cell division, but it's good to introduce it here. And these are centrioles. They kind of just sit in cells dormant for most of the time until it comes time for cells to divide and reproduce. So when it's time for to reproduce, these things kind of get turned on and they go to opposite ends of the cell and they drive that cell division there. And then I believe our last one on this chunk will be the microtubules. Think of these things as a cellular skeleton. So they are going to provide kind of a framework inside the cell. Pretty cool how they get formed and are recycled and made and all those things. But like I said, think of microtubules as just kind of a microscopic cellular skeleton there. Okay, we're going to stop there for part 2 of our cell parts. Part 3 is going to be what parts that we see in plant cells. So until next time.